Hi everyone, look what I have here. This is the Acer Swift 3. It's a very slim laptop, but what's interesting with this model is it comes with a AMD Ryzen processor. But let's look at the form factor first. This is a 14-inch laptop, which is 18 mm thickness and weighs 1.2 kilograms. So let's look at the design. The front has nothing, no LEDs. The sides, you have one headphone mic jack, and type A, and this shows the indicator for that is on, and the Kingston turn lock. Nothing at the back, and on the left side you have the barrel charger and a type C. What's interesting with this type C is you can charge with a 65-watt USB type C charger. It's also a DisplayPort. You can use this as a DisplayPort, and next to it is a HDMI as well as another type A USB. And the bottom is central ventilation where the air intake is, and 4 rubber feet, and there's nothing else. You can remove this with all the screws. Not to forget 2 downward firing speakers for stereo sound. And so let's look at the specs. This is Acer Swift 3 with the AMD Ryzen 7 4700U. So this is a mobile processor which has the AMD Radeon Graphics on board. It doesn't have a dedicated GPU, and it comes with a 14-inch Full HD IPS LCD screen. I think it's nice because this is non-reflective and is a slightly matte finish. It has 8 GB RAM and 512 GB NVMe SSD. We shall open up the internals and see whether it's upgradable. It has Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. And the battery is 48 watt-hour lithium-ion battery, rated to last about 10 to 11 hours. So it's 14-inch 1920 by 1080p screen, and it's non-reflective. It's actually an IPS screen, but it's non-reflective, but it's housed within this tiny plastic bezel. And there's nothing at the bottom, but the camera and the mics is on top. This is a standard 720p camera. Not gonna expect good resolution from there, but at least it's great for during your Zoom calls. So the keypads are backlit. You can see we can toggle it on and off. So this is off and this is on. But oddly, the space bar, you can see there's no lighting coming out from the space bar other than all the keys have, but there's none on the light space bar. So for screen brightness, I measured 240 nits on the center and 220 at the sides. So you're talking about this 240 to 220, which is the brightness, the maximum brightness of the screen from this laptop. So before any benchmark, let's do the audio test and hear how the speaker sounds like. So I'm going to put it up to 50%. And this is how it sounds like at 50%. You put it up to 100%, see if there's any crackling or vibration on the chassis here. So the music is on the left and right on the bottom firing speakers. It's not bad, sounds quite good, not too tinny. So it's sufficient for a laptop like this, and not bassy, but it's just average. Okay, next up, we're going to run the Crystal Disk Mark to check what's the speed with the 512 GB SSD inside. So this results for the 512 GB SSD is about 1009 for read and about 1002 for write. This is quite fast. Maybe you can change the SSD to a 3000 Mbps version, but this is sufficient for most users anyway. Right, next up we'll run the Geekbench 5. As you can see, it's the AMD Ryzen 7 4700U with 8 cores, and its base frequency is 2 GHz and maximum boosted frequency is 4.19 GHz, and it's only with the Radeon Graphics. There's no dedicated GPU. So we'll run the CPU benchmark and have a look at the scores. So this is the results for the Swift 3. The single core is 1119, which is 1119, and the multi-core is 4768. It's not bad. It's good results for just the Ryzen 7 4700U processor. So let's do the compute and see with the Radeon Graphics what's the results. Right, the OpenCL score is 11394, which is 11,394, which is expected because it's just running a Radeon Graphics. There's no dedicated graphic for this, and it's also running a shared memory, so it's using the 8 GB RAM that's on the motherboard. Right, you'll do a benchmark on the Cinebench R23, and we'll start with the multi-core first, and then we'll do the single core. So we have the multi-core score at 5,863 points, which is above the Intel Core i7 11 Gen, right? So 11 Gen is about 4009, and this one is running at 5008 for multi-core. So we'll do the single core and see the results. So this result for the single core is quite impressive. It's 1133 points, and it puts it right below the Core i9 9 Gen. But let's see, it's above what specs we have here, right? So it's right below the i9 998H CPU, and it's above the Threadripper 2990. So it's in good scores. The multi-core beats the 11 Gen i7, which is very good value. So you can have a look at this. This processor seems to be doing quite well. Right, let's just run the time spy and see what results we're going to get. I'm not expecting great results because it's just running a onboard Radeon Graphics, and it's also sharing the 8 GB RAM for the graphics. So we'll see how it comes out and what's the results. So the final score is 1081, so it's running on the Radeon RX Vega 7, and then you can see the benchmark is here. It's nothing to be shouting about because it is a built-in graphic card on the processor. It's not a dedicated one, but then again you can see it takes up only 512 MB of RAM space. So we'll move on to the next benchmark and we'll see how it goes. Right, next up we'll run World of Tanks. Currently it's running at medium setting. That's what it detected as Radeon Graphics medium setting, anti-alias off, ray tracing is off, and we're running at 1080p resolution, so you won't be able to take ultra. But let's test it on the 1080 first. So this before the benchmark starts, so it's 35. So you're getting pretty decent, 50 frames above for this Radeon Graphics. You can see the temperatures there. So max you're getting 92 frames per second above 90, and then low you have 20s. Again, ray tracing and anti-alias is off, medium setting at 1080p. So it's playable. So if you want some games, you do set it to 1080p and medium setting. Turn off all the anti-alias and don't expect ray tracing on this. So let's do some tests on the heat. It's 38 now, it's starting to heat up. It's hotter on the left side because the charging is there, and I think the GPU and the CPU is that side is 40 on the left side, but it's much cooler on the right side, 33, 31. So the processor should be this side, that's why it's very hot there. But this temperature is good. It's not really hot. 38. Pretty good results, frames per second on mid settings. So you're talking about, yeah, that's why it's medium, but it could go up to 9500. So let's look at the internals, but let me do note this back cover is ridiculously hard to take out because the cover sits inside the frame. So to get this off, you need to pry open the back first, because there's no place for you to pry at the side, and then try to make your way across to open this up. So it's kind of hard to take it out. And okay, the inside, as you can see, this is a 48 watt hour battery, which is quite huge for this. Takes up all the space, and then you have the two downwards firing speakers, and what you have here is a single NVMe PCIe SSD slot for single, so there's no upgradable for second SSD. And I see the RAM is also soldered on, so you're not going to get to upgrade your RAM. So if you can find a 16 GB model, maybe you go for the 16 GB, because you'll be stuck with the RAM, which is already soldered on board. And this the Wi-Fi card, Wi-Fi 6, you can upgrade this later on, but there's no reason to, because Wi-Fi 6 is fast. And then you have the fan, single fan, and with the output heat out here, and then a single pipe for the CPU, which is the NVIDIA. It's amazing, just a single pipe, and you're getting about like 38 Celsius, 40 Celsius, the max of this. So there's nothing much here, it's quite empty, and the board is this small. Looking at that, but that's the board. The rest is a fan and the connectors. So there you have it. This is the Acer Swift 3 with the Ryzen 7, and that's how it looks like. And this is the internal, and if you look at the benchmarks, reasonable for office work. Don't expect high-end gaming out of this, but it's good. It's 1.2 kg, thin is about 18 mm, thickness is 1.8 cm, and you can carry this around and you can charge it. What's important, you can charge it with a Type-C 65-watt charger. You don't have to carry a power brick with you. Just get a 65-watt Type-C charger, carry it around with you. You can charge your phone, and at the same time you can charge the laptop. And it's got about 10 hours battery life. Haven't done the benchmark for the battery, but I'll take it about 8 hours then, if with Windows. So do give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you like, follow me on my next video. I'll see more reviews. I'll see you. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye.